Good morning, everybody. Oh, how are you? I'm great, thank you for asking. We're back in the Shire, as you can tell. I'm actually going to have breakfast before I train today. I've not had a non-fasted session in a very long time. We're talking like 4 or 5 months, but I feel like now that I'm into a surplus, or now that my focus has moved from losing body fat to gaining muscle, I definitely want to, one, increase the amount of time that I spend under an anabolic environment stimulating muscle protein synthesis. So I'm going to have another meal of protein before I train. I'm also going to train about an hour later. So normally I train at 9:30 till about 12ish. Now I'm going to do 10:30 to about 12:30, 1ish, and just move everything back an hour. That just allows me to get one extra meal in. Also, I'm going to start that meal real small and keep all my other meals a little bit smaller than they were before to account for that first meal. And that way, when I'm building up calories, and when I get back up to like 4.5, 5,000 calories or whatever it's going to be, I'm already got that meal in place that I can bulk up without having to worry about my other meals. Because right now, I only have about 3 meals and a snack. So it's 3 big meals and a snack, but ultimately that's going to end up being 4 meals and a snack. So I thought I'd just bring in the meal now and have smaller meals throughout the day while my macros are the same, to set myself up for that future, if that makes sense. We've got push day again today, guys. I'm training push and arms twice a week because I'm trying to grow my arms and my chest more than anything, so I'm doing them more than anything. I'm excited. We're going to MJ's today. Can you tell I'm excited? Can you tell we're back to the gym? Let's go. One of the things I miss most about my old car, one of the things I'm most appreciative in this car is a motherfucking radio. I had no radio in my old car for 18 months, but now, so I wanted to go ahead and film a voiceover for you for this workout, just so that we can kind of go through it, let you know what's going on, and just talk you through it. I'm going to analyze it as though I'd analyze one of my clients' work. So I'm going to go back and through it. Luckily, I can put it on my laptop. I can scrub through it. So first up, crucifix lateral raises. Now, these are different for any clients watching or anyone else who listens to my stuff. These are different from lying lateral raises. Obviously, lying lateral raises, you're in a position where you're fully prone or fully straight, I should say. But here, there's a lot more focus on external rotation. There's a lot more focus on kind of moving the shoulder comfortably through the joint. Obviously, having the 1MR cuffs on there helps a lot. And obviously, putting it on this cable machine here helps a lot. But you can see that we're kind of, we are abducting from the arm, but we're also externally rotating at the top to get the delt even shorter. So you can see we come up in that crucifix-like fashion, which is why we call it a crucifix lateral raise. Now, I like to do this first because actually getting in that position where your shoulder is fully contracted or fully in that short position, we call it a short position, fully contracted position, it gets harder through your workout, but also there's not many other exercises that put you in that position. For example, when you're doing a shoulder press, you really only come to here. You don't fully walk to that work to that position. You don't fully work into that fully externally rotated position, apart from in a lateral raise or a crucifix raise type vibe type training thing. So this is why I do that first. I preferably set the cables low so they don't rub against your feet. This is perfect for me, that this free motion arm, just so that you can see like the cables are moving. It's because like you don't work out in a fixed plane of motion. You don't have one plane of motion that is out like this, for a lateral raise. It's not like that. You have to go through that full range of motion, and the cables allow that pretty well. Then we move on to a big loading compound exercise. So this is a Smith shoulder press. I was supposed to do normal OHP, but I love the Smith machine here, so I wanted to do it. Now you can see when I lower this down, I have a point when I stop. And the point when I stop is this position here. Any lower, I'm going to impede my shoulders. You can see that if I go any lower, I'm going to get into that position where just loading that joint so much that there's not a real need to go into that position. So I stay far away from it as such. But you can see every rep is standardized. We're controlling the way up. We're controlling the way down. I generally say to people, count 3 seconds on the way down. I don't always do it, but I go 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then press up with like a micro pause, so you're not using any momentum there. And that goes for any compound, really. If you ever get in the position when you're in a compound, a squat, a bench, whatever it is, you can bob it. Little bob, you've seen the bobbers. Bobber. Take that kinetic energy out of it, almost a micro pause, and just drive it entirely through that pec. Everything was like a one top set, so like a 6 to 9 or a 10, and then the back off set here, which you move with a little bit more speed, a little bit more intent, still with that 3 seconds down, but you can see there's a lot more power being put into it because the weight is a lot lighter, and this is where you would accumulate a lot more volume, and that goes for everything. You can't just work in one rep range, you have to utilize them all. Low, medium, high, whatever it is, you've got to rotate through them in order for you to maximize your ability to get muscle. We know from research that you grow between a 5 to 30 rep range, so you've got to be spending time at the bottom end and also the top end, and also working off those principles of hypertrophy that we know: loading, metabolic load, metabolic stress, things like that. So next exercise, obviously working the upper part first with that Smith press. We now go on to a horizontal press now. Now you'll see there's 2 things in here. You'll see my start position here where my elbows are, and then you'll see my end position. So we'll just let a rep go through, and then here, so we can stop here. If I turn the scrubbing on, you see where my elbows land. Like they tuck in 10 degrees or so, but they don't really. Like they don't come in like most people's presses. They actually come out like this. They probably don't come out like this. They probably go like this. And that's because the main function of the pec here is or one of the main functions here is to bring that humerus across and bring the elbow right across towards the sternum. But really, in a press, if you're doing it like here, you finish. Sure, you're doing it, but actually, you kind of miss out this big portion of the pec there. So you can see when I go through this, I do tend to keep my elbows a little bit higher. In fact, you can see it a little bit better on this front bit. Right here, you can see there. You can see that the difference that it's making, and you can see that I drop my elbows a very, very little bit, but really keeping them fairly stable throughout the whole movement. Finally, moving on to like something that's a little bit less energy demanding, a fly. A lot of people do these. These have got free moving handles, so I don't need to use the D handles, which is quite good. But you can see even on this, I'm trying to focus on driving those elbows. See that they're bending here, but then they're actually pushing out, and I'm trying to push my elbows in at the top, because that's where we get that massive adduction of the pec. Sure, 5-10% here and there, it's not going to make a huge difference, but I can guarantee that pushing that far will make a bit of a decent difference, especially when you're working on things like that are slightly less energy demanding, like a costal pec fly or a clavicular pec fly. Anything that's flyy is a little bit less energy demanding versus a big compound, so you can put a little bit more emphasis into volume there, do a few more reps and sets if you need to, and just keep pushing on from there. A little bit of a physique update, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay. And we're back in the room. Straight sets here. Like I said, this doesn't keep me in the most functional way. You got to think my shoulders versus some other little person's shoulders or some other huge dude's shoulders. They don't fit. They're not the same width. So these machines are flawed in that fact. So this was the best of a bad machine. It's very difficult to get in there. It's not too bad because the pad does roll up your arm, but ultimately you're leading with that humerus, trying to lead forward like you would do with any lateral raise. I've actually tagged on arms the end of each of my pull days at the moment, which is good. So you've got a little bit more volume coming through it. So I've been using this for like a real peak contraction, essentially, as this strength profile here is from like easy to heavy to light. So the axis of rotation here is going to be right in the elbow. And then as that weight moves closer and further away from the axis, it gets heavier or lighter. So you can see when it's at the bottom right here, that the axis is close, so it's lighter. Then it gets heavier as you get stronger, which is right in the mid-range, where you're in this position, you can hold it much more. So we actually want to load that bit. Then as the weight comes closer to the axis of rotation, it drops off as we get weaker. So actually, a bicep curl like that is pretty good. Similarly for this, you can see I've got a long rope. No one's arms are T-Rex arms. You don't want a short rope and just pop them out. A big long rope so you can fully extend. That's really what you want to be focusing on there, and really just making sure that you are fully extending in your range of motion. No one's arms get stuck here doing a little shoulder shrug. We don't do that anymore. We can actually push further beyond that now, and you can get 2 ropes. You don't need a long rope. You can get 2 ropes, extend them out, and it's no problem. And then we finished off here with a very, very similar thing in terms of the bicep curl, but we just did it with a cable instead. Cable adds a little bit more tension, and we wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Let me know if you enjoyed the type of breakdown in this. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see you in the next clip. So I think we'll end the video there. A little bit of a video. I know you guys like the breakdown of stuff, the whys, the hows, and whatnots. So just let me know if you like that type of video, and we'll do a few more. We'll break down every session as we go. Next video, we'll give you a little bit of a house update. Obviously, the move is closing in. We've had a little bit of a hiccup, and it's a bit of a squeaky bum time, so we've got kind of a little transition period that we'll talk about in the next video, but I'm hoping things go all right. We'll go from there. See you guys soon. Next video. Bye-bye.